Hello and welcome to the Fischer Random channel on YouTube. In today's video I'd like to present a recent game that I played on ChessCube. Just to put this in perspective, this is probably only the 5th or 6th game of chess960 that I've actually played. I'm not claiming to be any kind of expert in this at all, but this channel hopefully will help others become involved in the game, and hopefully by watching the videos you'll learn from the good, the bad and the ugly, and hopefully we can all improve our game. This was a 5-minute live game, and it was actually the first time I played chess960 live. I've played about half a dozen games in correspondence, and of course in correspondence chess you have almost as much time as you want to study the position, work out weak squares and really come up with some kind of opening plan. In a 5-minute game this is very, very different. I'm basically playing a few 960 games because my opinion is that hopefully it should help me in terms of developing faster calculation and better tactical skills. So let's take a quick look at the position before we begin. As in all 960 positions, the rooks are either side of the king. In this game I was playing black and my rooks were on g8 and a8. Again, the other restriction of 960 positions is there is one light square and one dark square bishop. So this game began as follows. Excuse me, one moment. c4. And this being my first game, I really forgot one of the principles that I mentioned in my introduction video, which was the first thing that one should do is a quick assessment of strong and weak squares. I did not do this. Instead I focused on my own development with b6 and bang, bishop takes h7. So this is the second move of the first live game that I've played, and already I'm going down an exchange. So the good news is that pretty much anything can happen in 960 in the first few moves, particularly if you're playing at a novice opponent. So I decided to continue just with basic principles of development and center control. So the game continues, bishop b7, knight g3, c5, and here I'm just planning to give some scope to my bishops and hopefully come up with a way to salvage the game. Game continues, knight c3, knight c6, d3, bishop c7, and I'm basically planning to castle a side. Knight d5, and I decide to preserve the bishop, albeit to a somewhat awkward square. I realise I'm going to go down the exchange at white's leisure. They can capture the rook, there's nothing I can do to save it, so I'm just keen to keep pieces on the board. Knight f5, and here I try and castle, and yep, a mouse slip, which really helps my cause. So I'm down the exchange and now I've lost castling rights. So this game continues with bishop takes g8, queen takes g8, a3, knight d4, and here I'm just going back to basic chess tactics regarding centralizing pieces, looking for opportunities for forks, pins and skewers. And here I'm hoping that my opponent is spending time working out how to redeploy their own pieces. So sure enough, bishop d3, and I play knight c2 check, and here I equalize in terms of the exchange. So back in the game, which is fortunate considering how it began. So the game continues, bishop e5, and here I'm just looking to create a rather annoying pin on the b2 pawn being pinned to white's queen. Knight takes e7, queen moves out of the way, f4, bishop retreats, knight f5, and here I decide that these two knights are too powerful and they're coordinating very well together, so I decide to snap off one of the knights, recaptures, and I artificially castle with king c7, d6 check, king b7, g4 and g6 to hopefully kick the knight. So here, whilst my position is somewhat fragmented, I'm down 2, 4, 6, 2, 4, 6, 7. I'm just down one pawn, believe it or not, after that horrific opening. So knight h6, which seemed unusual. I decide to double with queen and rook on the e-file. g5, I drop the bishop back, maintaining that very awkward pin. f5, just seems to lose a pawn. f4 to protect the pawn on d6, and I bring my rook to the e-file. So I'm trying to follow standard chess principles of centralizing the pieces, creating batteries and creating threats such as pins and forks. So I'm slowly getting back in the game. e3, knight g6, bishop g3, queen b3. Here I'm threatening to at least win a pawn, but I'm also aware that the pawn on f7 is threatened by the bishop on h6. So here my opponent seems to lose the plot somewhat, because after queen f1 I play queen b2 check, king e1, bishop c3 check, and after king d2 it's a simple mate. So as I said, this was not the greatest game of chess960. It's my first experience of playing live in 5 minutes, and I certainly learnt the importance of spending maybe 15-20 seconds, particularly as black, before you even make the first move. In a 5-minute game, it's probably worth investing 10, 15, 20 seconds per move for the first half a dozen moves to make sure that you're not leaving yourself open to attack, that you're not defending weak squares, for example. Anyway, I hope this helps give another insight into the game. I hope it helps for those of you that are just beginning. I hope it helps to see someone else, such as myself, who's just beginning to really get to grips with the game. And most of all, I hope it encourages you to give the game a whirl yourself. If you found this video entertaining in any way, please consider subscribing, and you can also find us on FischerRandom.com and on Twitter and Facebook. Thanks very much for your time, and I'll talk to you again soon.